So what happens when a spellcaster, a couple of werewolves, and a vampire toddler share a house? Stick around to find out and see if you can spot the hidden voodoo doll in this house. That's right, I built a home for these three occult types in The Sims and... Oh wait, what was that? Oh, yeah, I wore this shirt for today's video. Thanks for noticing. Look, I know it's a GOT reference, but it's the best I could do for today's theme, okay? So the idea here was that it's a family of four living in this 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, and the married couple is a werewolf and spellcaster duo, and then they had a werewolf son, and then somehow a vampire toddler got into the mix. Use your imagination on that one. But let's go ahead and dive into this lot because I'm super excited to show you all how it turned out. So I built this home in Glimmerbrook on this 30 by 20 lot. And look, I know it uses a lot of packs. I'm really sorry, I just can't be stopped. If you want me to do a base game only build, comment down below and I will try my best to do one. Even though I think it would be really hard for me, I would be more than happy to do that. Or at least a limited pack build. Let me know if you can give me some leeway on that. But this is a pretty expensive house at 276,000 simoleons. But I mean, you can just cheat to get it. You know, you don't have to have that much money. You can just get it for free. So this is the lot. I'll do a quick pan around for you to see what we're getting into today. But I hope you love the vibes right off the bat. So like I said, I hit a voodoo doll, and specifically it's this guy. So you'll see this guy somewhere in the lot, and that is what you're trying to find, is this little voodoo doll. Now, one thing I want to start off by saying is that this was a lilsimsie shell challenge. It's the soup shell challenge that she just did. And I had a lot of fun with this one. I love a good shell challenge because I think they make you think out of the box sometimes with how you approach certain things. And she did this kind of evil thing with a lot of diagonal lines and kind of like just some weird things with the shell in general. And it made the roofing on this build very difficult in some ways. That was like one of the hardest parts with the exterior, especially on the back right here with this diagonal. I think I kind of hit it really well because there's another diagonal wall right here, but since I just brought the roofing straight over, you don't really see that. But this was a little bit harder with some of the random bump outs for, I think, a Simsie shell, because usually her shell challenges aren't too difficult. I've only done a couple of them, and the other one that was a little tricky with the roofing was the shark shell challenge. If you want to check that video out, I'll link it down below. But anyways, getting onto this build, the first thing I think and that I hope comes to mind is to see how overgrown and how many plants are everywhere. I think plants are like an easy thing to use to give kind of that magical, charming aspect to a build, or even making it spooky with like overgrown plants. And then you can change the seasons as well if you wanted to give it more eerie vibes, which I've done a lot in my spooky builds for this month. So I wanted to keep this one kind of more green because the idea is that we're using a lot of the occult types for this build. But I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to incorporate the jungle adventure vines, because I was like, is that really the vibe? But I think it is. It kind of adds this magical touch to the build. I love how I have the ivy kind of staggered down this wall. I think it just makes it come alive a bit more whenever you have things like this with the overgrown look to it. So I tried to incorporate ivy and just a lot of plants literally everywhere with flowers. And the vibes for the flowers were like these purple and pinks and blues with a pop of yellow and orange. So that's kind of the vibes we're going for with the landscaping. And of course I put all these little mushrooms everywhere, and I made this stone path. And so we have these debug stones from the Love Struck pack. And I think we even just have a plain debug base game stone that you can use. The idea here, I went back and forth too, was do I want to carry the stone all the way around the house? And I was like, I like the idea of it going in the front because it's pretty seeing it from the street. But once you get back here, it's kind of it's just grass and it tapers off. So it's a little bit of a detail that I really like, and I spent some extra time doing with how it's super dirt and maybe even muddy up here, but it kind of tapers off as you go to the back. This is actually the cake topper from Wedding Stories. And so I thought this was a fun addition instead of putting an actual cow plant, because I think it's really cute having both of them under the treehouse like that. It was just kind of a vibe that I was going for. And one thing I'd like to point out too is that there's a ton of balcony space. So this huge balcony right here is off the primary bedroom. So they have a nice little lounging area over here with a bar cart. And then over here is a fun little date night picnic area if you wanted to hang out, look at the stars, do some stargazing outside. I think this is a really fun, cozy vibe with all the lanterns and stuff. So whenever it's nighttime, it's like definitely a mood, I feel like, to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. And then one little detail that I really, really like is I made this tray. This is actually a baking pan, but it looked like a tray to me. So I put wine glasses with the love struck flowers and then some wine on it, or nectar, I guess I should say, from Horse Ranch, and put that out here. So lots of blankets and cozy vibes with pillows and things like that, and the plants, and then just a fun little date area. I love doing date nooks like this in my builds, so I hope you enjoy it too. One thing that was a ton of fun were the lights in the trees. So I put these lanterns, but I also put these like fun festive lights around the treehouse just to lend to the vibes. I think it's like a fun thing to do, and it's a fun detail just to make it more magical and feeling more magical. So that was kind of the vibe for this house too overall. Don't let the plants and the charming outside fool you though, because we do have some creepy vibes. I think this build's really great at combining cozy, comfy with like a skosh of creepiness, and we'll get to that soon. But one thing I wanted to point out here was this rooftop. This was actually an idea that I got from another simmer on the gallery, and her name is Ginge Fringe on the gallery. So she had this as a roof of like an apothecary room that she built, and that was a lot of inspiration for my apothecary area in the house. And so I pulled the idea and just I still individually placed all of these pieces. I thought it was really magical with them looking like they're floating. So we have a spellcaster in the house, so I was like, that kind of goes with the vibes a little bit. But I thought this was a super cool idea that she had put on a different build of hers, and I kind of wanted to use it for the treehouse as a topper because I just think it lent to the vibes. Before we get into the treehouse, on this back balcony, this is off of a landing on the inside of the house that's more public use. We have a flower arranging table, and you know, with the details I love to go into, we have the death flower, and we have this like Fane flower, the wolf's bane, all of that fun stuff over here. And I just wanted to pretend like when you're doing flowers, you know, some fall on the floor and they're just kind of there scattered around on the table and on the floor. And then I just have some other activities over here off the side. I even hid a little bonsai tree in that little nook off the side right there. So lots of fun things to do outside. And then once you get to the back porch area, I put an archaeology table and had a ton of fun like cluttering that little space up. So putting like some bones and sculptures and things like that in this area with the vases as well. So I just thought this lent to a vibe to make it a little more cluttered use. And it kind of works with like more, in my opinion, the Werewolves pack. And it just lends to those vibes because Werewolves has a lot of like rustic looking things and worn down things, and the archaeology table kind of gives that vibe, as well as just using the Werewolves rug underneath it. And then you have a chess table off to the side, and then just some cute plants and things over here. So these are the vibes that I was going for on the outside. And then lastly, we have this fun water feature. And one thing that you might not notice right off the bat is this piece. So this is like a really cool piece. It's like random land pieces, and I sized it down to fit into this small like pond area that I made, and it just lends to more marshy kind of vibes that I was going for, like kind of swampy too. So I just thought that was a fun little feature to put. And then one thing that I put all around the lot, which I'll show you in live mode, there are fireflies everywhere, and I put some dragonflies too, but I literally put fireflies everywhere in this lot. So they are all over the place. I put them under the plants everywhere. And I just thought that lent more to the magical vibes as well. So you'll see a ton of fireflies across the lot. And I think it's a really unique, fun detail that sometimes I think goes unnoticed or like forgotten about when people do Sims builds and things like that we have that. Because I think adding wildlife is really fun. And there's also like a fun little rabbit hopping around somewhere. It was originally in the backyard, and I think I saw it in the front yard jumping around a little. And then you also have the little wild rabbit home off to the side here as well. So I could go on and on and on. I'm trying to be quick, but it's a lot of fun for me to go through these builds with you and kind of share what I was thinking. Once we get into this little treehouse space, this is the entrance. I just put some chairs, some cute clutter, plants, and things like that in the birdhouse. And then as you zoom out, you can kind of see how the tree fits really well and kind of flush to the shape of the treehouse. So this is something that's really tricky in my opinion with tree houses, but I love the vibes with this. And then as you come in, I wanted this to be like a really fun, cute hangout space. So I put all of those like fun stars across the top, put strands of lights everywhere, different types of strands of lights, and decor and clutter. So you have a little fridge over here with a s'more station and some like records and things like that, board games, and I put a popcorn maker on top of the board games. To do that, I actually hid a counter. You can see underneath the wagon right here, I sized it all the way down. So that's like a cheat if you want to put some of the appliances on things that are not counters. It's like, well, it's technically on a counter, but it doesn't look like it is. And then I have like a little music corner over here, and then more board games, the TV screen. I love this item. It's from the Little Campers. And I just kind of thought that it lent to the vibes over here as well. And then I put some sleeping bags because I just imagine that the kids hang out in here and just have fun. I put a tragic clown painting over there. The dartboard I know is not really functional there, but you know, in real life it could be. So that was the vibes with that. Again, I don't build for functionality, I build for vibes. Just some cute clutter everywhere. And then over here is actually a bathroom. So we have a full functional bathroom over here. We have some trees and stuff, kind of foliage lending itself into the bathroom, which I thought made it more realistic and fun to play in. But it is a full bathroom. You have your shower over here, you know, sink and toilet. So you can do everything up in this little tree house. So I thought that was kind of a fun vibe. And then one thing I want to mention really quickly is the spirit house. So you can leave some nice offerings for the spirits if you wanted to over here. And I thought that kind of lent to some of the more like spooky vibes on the outside of the house, because the outside is kind of cute, you know, it doesn't really have a lot of spookiness to it, but I think the overgrown plants kind of lend to some type of eeriness in a way, even though it is kind of cute. And then lastly, I didn't go through the front porch just yet because we're about to enter, but I put a lot of clutter with plants over here and a bench, and then you can walk down here and actually have like a little tea area, hangout area with a table and look out, and I put a nice seating area outside. Oh, I always leave one of these cubes. I always do it. So that is on the gallery for you. This is like a whole vibe with the vines and everything out here with lanterns and stuff. So even at nighttime, you can see you have plenty of lighting over here, and I put some candles over here to keep it well lit and everything as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and head inside. So I actually want to show you a pan down first of the first floor. So one thing I did with incorporating the 3 occult types was I wanted to use one for each room primarily to help it come together. I didn't explicitly only use one. I kind of mixed some of them a little bit, but the general idea was you have your living space primarily as the vampire occult type. The dining space was more of the werewolves, and this little area as well. The kitchen was realm of magic. So that's kind of how I split this up. And then over here we have an office space that's very much more paranormal. And so those are like the 4 main packs I would say that I use outside of, you know, the base game. I did use a ton of other packs, but it's mainly for plants and a lot of clutter. But that's the vibe initially. So we have a foyer right here, very small entryway, rather. I don't know if I'd call it a foyer, but a cute little cow plant and table to put some things on. And then as you come into here, you have a nice little working space, office space area. And you know what that is. If you know, you know. We're going to get to that. And so I'll go ahead and show the dining area. I'll save the kitchen though for later. The dining area was more of the werewolves. So it's a little limited with the werewolves whenever it came to the other rooms. So I just thought dining space made the most sense for the werewolves pack to kind of fit in a little bit. And it's just hard because it's super rustic vibes sometimes. So making it fit with something like vampires, which is super like gothic, but elegant and kind of modern vibes, it was a little difficult at times to make it work. I think it comes together really nicely though with the decor space. And I love having these archways. I think they're really pretty. And so once we get over here and come through here is the vampire like living space. I don't know why we have a huge shadow like that. Is it because it's nighttime? This is super weird because it wasn't doing this before the game update. So The Sims had a big game update today. I have no idea what is casting that shadow. Let me know if it does this for you. It's kind of ruining the vibes though, and I don't appreciate that. But this is the living space, sort of, with the vampires stuff. So I just wanted it to kind of have a lot of vampire energy because I don't really use vampires anywhere else in the build. Oh, I can kind of glitch it so when I'm close it's fine. So this is what it actually is supposed to look like, kind of. Lots of clutter. I put urns and stuff on the fireplace, and so went with like greens, blues, and purples in here, and then kind of have this like light color as an accent. You have the grandfather clock over here. I really don't know what's causing that shadow, and that's really annoying. You're ruining my vibes, Sims. You're ruining it. So over here, I actually have the gramophone where you can call the Grim Reaper if you wanted to. And I have a bathroom off of the living space over here. So this is the first full bathroom I'm showing you. And I tried to, like, this is from Werewolves. So I did put a little bit of Werewolves in here. And this is Realm of Magic. A lot of it is. I sized that down. It's doing some weird things. So I turned my camera off and I was working on this for like a good 5 to 10 minutes. And I think that these are from my basement, a couple of items I have, but it's weird that it wasn't doing that before. So I can't figure out also why this is showing the outline. It's sized down, but it's never done that before. So we're just dealing with some weird stuff today. I feel like every time Sims puts an update out, it messes something up. Over here, I put like this nice little office nook space and put a lot of like paranormal kind of stuff up here and around in this room. I put that wallpaper on these two walls just to kind of lend a little more color that pops and works with this. But yeah, I think this is a really cute space. I'd love to work in this office space. Also, missing stuff. That's not supposed to be in there. It's supposed to just be that. So there are two things now, the cube and the light. I'm on a roll today, man. So here is the beautiful kitchen. This is one of my favorite rooms in the house. I absolutely loved building this room. And this was the first room I actually built in the house and furnished. And I just love all of the curtains with the leaves all over the place. I covered it with herbs, and I wanted to lend to that spellcaster vibe quite a bit. And I love this like cool, funky island. I don't know what I was going for with this necessarily, but I was trying to put a cauldron in the kitchen at first. It wasn't fitting very well because I wanted more counter space too. And so I guess I just kind of wanted to keep like a circular type of vibe in the kitchen. And I thought this kind of was like a cool way to get kind of that same idea in the kitchen. But I loved cluttering this kitchen up and putting the funky green and like blue vibes throughout. That was kind of the idea. And this green light right here. Over here is like a nice little tea area off to the side. And so anyway, I just think this is one of my favorite kitchens that I've done. It's got a ton of fun clutter in it. And I think it really lends to those vibes that we're going for with the spellcaster. And then of course, I love using platforms, as we know, and I sunk it down. So I actually liked having this kind of split level idea. I did at first have the living space up on a platform. So it was actually 3 different levels as you went across the house, but it just wasn't working and it wasn't looking right. And I wanted the archway here, and that made it even trickier. So I was like, I'll just keep that as one level over here. And then if you noticed in the office, it actually steps down as well. So the office and the kitchen are sunken on the first floor. So as we go upstairs, I will start off with saying that this floor, I spent hours coming up with the floor plan. It's kind of embarrassing how long it took me to come up with this floor plan. Why do I have a counter here? I'm gonna re-upload this to the gallery. I don't know what is going on. I feel like I'm being punked. Like, I feel like The Sims is punking me right now. I'm gonna re-upload it to the gallery. Just know that there will be 2 of these on the gallery, and I will put a comment as to why. I spent forever on this floor plan because I was wanting to at first have a Jack and Jill kind of bathroom situation. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially you have one bathroom and then 2 bedrooms off of that one bathroom, and they share the bathroom. I tried so hard to have a primary bedroom and a Jack and Jill bathroom situation with the 2 bedrooms. I couldn't make it work very well in a way that I liked because I still wanted to have a large landing as well. And what was tricky was the fact that I knew I wanted this to be the primary balcony, like off the primary bedroom, and have this be more of the shared balcony. And so I was limited in my options because I had to put the primary bedroom over here. So anyway, this is what we came up with, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, even though it was stressful. But I think it's kind of impressive that I have this large of a landing at the staircase and still have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms up here. But on the landing right here, it's just a fun hangout area where you can like knit, you can listen to music. I have some stools right here, and then just like a fun vibe. I put some board games and a cabinet there. And so I love this mirror from Werewolves that just fit too perfectly to not use. And just put some hanging plants over here. And I hid this like wolf over here and put that little chandelier over the staircase. Let's go over here to the vampire's room first. I've been doing a lot with this storybook nursery kit that came out, and I have always used all the dark swatches in all my builds, so I wanted to do something light, even though it's for a vampire. I wanted to still give some creepy vibes though, so I have that creepy doll there, and some of the toys and stuff that kind of lend to that vibe a little bit more so. It's like fun creepy, kind of, in my opinion. And so this is the space. It's kind of a play on pinks and blues, so it is like pastel colored throughout with the pink, blue, and then this kind of like beigey color that we have going on in here. But I think it's a fun vibe, and I think it still has like vampire energy to some extent, especially with the wallpaper I at least use from vampires. And I just think the Storybook Nursery Kit has vampire vibes in general with just the style. Like even with the curtains being this color, it's the style of the curtain that makes me think that it's kind of like gothic in a way. And these pictures as well kind of lend with that. So this is the cute little bedroom I did for that. And then over here is the bathroom that the kids share. So I had a lot of fun with this bathroom, very green. So again, green and purple was kind of the energy for this house, green, purple, and like yellows on top of that. So not much to see in here. It's just a fun little bathroom space. I think it's cute and it works really well with the energy we're going for. And then over here, I have the werewolf teen bedroom. So as you enter, you can see lots of clutter going on. I had so much fun with this bedroom. So tons of posters and decor throughout. Obviously using a lot of the Werewolves pack in here with the clutter, the TV, you have the gaming console, you have messy clothes and things on the floor, a cute little study area, fun, and a guitar, just some clutter over by the window area. And then as you go up, it's a bunk bed, obviously, and then you have a like floating nightstand right here with a little bit of clutter. So I was imagining with the gaming controller right there, I was like, he maybe like lays in bed and plays on the TV from the bed up here, so he keeps his controller by his bed. I had a lot of fun cluttering, and you even have like the sports stuff back behind the bed ladder and everything. So fun stuff. If you look for things, there are a lot of things kind of tucked away in this bedroom. And then off of that, we have the master bedroom. So when you first come into the master bedroom, you have this entrance to the balcony through here. And so this is kind of like the wardrobe area. So I put the dresser in this little 1x1 square tiled area that we have. And I put like the costume trunk here, and I put a little bit of workout gear as well next to the mirror. So this was kind of like a fun vibe on blues, purples, and reds. Put some nice like decor off of that as well. And then over here, you can see it's like a lot of that kind of blue and red energy. So this rug kind of determined the whole color scheme of the room. It has that red color, the kind of teal-y blue color with the purple. So red, teal, and purple were the vibes. So that's like what you see throughout this bedroom. And I just think this came across really well. It was interesting trying to mix and match spellcaster stuff like Realm of Magic and Werewolves, because they are very different in the styles. Realm of Magic is like this very clean and beautiful ornate furniture, and then Werewolves is like rustic. So I kind of used a lot more of the Realm of Magic furniture, but then the Werewolves touches like of decor. So this back wall right here is Werewolves. You have like the rug from Werewolves. You have some clutter from Werewolves as well. And then you have the bookcase from Werewolves. I put these planter boxes above it. I don't know. It was just kind of a nice vibe to do that. And so this was just the area of the space. I was thinking this was the Werewolf side, and then the Realm of Magic Spellcasters side over here with a journal and everything. But beautiful, beautiful bedroom. And then off of that, you have their private bathroom, which I had a ton of fun doing. So lots of plants over in this nook where the tub is, and I had fun like greening the space up. And then I put those boxes on top of the mirror, even though the weird shadowy thing happens. Sims, get your stuff together, please. But we have some fun like yellow green energy. I love like layering sinks, so you'll see me do that a lot where I raise sinks up above. And I kind of like having the raised sink, and over here it worked beautifully in this bathroom. I kind of overlooked that, but this like the level of it matched perfectly with the square raising on top of it, and this matched the color scheme quite well with the top. So I thought it was a realistic way of seeing that. So that gets us to the fun part. So when you go into this secret room right here, it's very small. Like you're not missing anything. It's one tile and then you go downstairs. And once you go down this ladder, you are met first with an office space. So this basement is divided into 3 levels, essentially. So over here is like a seance space and an office space. The word for the basement is clutter. It is cluttered. Cluttered. And that's done intentionally. I don't know why, but spellcasters kind of give me that energy that they kind of are hoarders in a way. And I don't know what it is about it, but it just makes me think that they have a lot of trinkets that they like to carry. They have a lot of crystals and plants, and they do a lot of things with like the apothecary and stuff like that. So I just think cluttered spaces with spellcasters works so well. And also Ginge Fringe, who I mentioned earlier, kind of inspired the roof of the treehouse. From the same apothecary room, I kind of took some of her ideas and ran with it and did my own thing with it. And once you come off of this area, I put up these signs and it's just a fun space. Layered rugs are everywhere, plants are everywhere. And over here, that's what it looks like. No, I was about to freak out. But this is the actual space for the apothecary area. So you have the big cauldron in the center, which I actually layered 2 cauldrons. So if you're looking at this and like, what is going on here? It's because I had that. And I like the stones that are under it that it has. And I like this little gemstone. But I liked the original cauldron, like just the plain black one, because it's more rustic vibes. And I just felt like that was more the energy I was wanting to go for than this. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, where you kind of get some of the magical crystals at the bottom with the base, and then you can still kind of see the gemstone on the side. So that was just a personal preference of mine. This space was really fun to clutter up as well. So it's like where you have a lot of the specimens, and you still have like plants and herbs in this little basket full of flowers and plants, and just a ton of clutter everywhere. You have the sugar skulls there in the cabinet, and just lots of books everywhere in this space. So it lent to a really fun vibe. This was obviously the most fun room to work on, and it took the most amount of time. So I absolutely love this room. And then over here, off of the apothecary area, is kind of a bar. So my idea of this space was to have like a bar hangout area, kind of like speakeasy vibes. I love putting that in my builds. And so this was like a really fun space to put together. Again, Ginge Fringe was very inspiring with some of the stuff I did here. I loved how she like put these planter boxes and put it in front of this. That was such a cool idea. And I was like, I'm definitely going to keep that. And she also used like this layered way of taking the same piece of furniture, sizing it down further and tiering it. So I loved that. But I kind of changed a good bit of the clutter and things. I wanted to showcase more of the gemstones and things like that, and the fossils and the flowers I put all over the place on this as well. And so tons of stones, crystals, and things of that nature. You have a lot of the plants as well. So just a ton of fun vibes. And then this is 2 different pictures that are kind of layered over here, but I thought this frame worked really well. And so I used that. And then over here, we have that same idea where we have the tiered tables, and it works really well. I love how this came together. And this was something else that I kind of took as inspiration from her room. I love putting all these glasses over here with the drinks, and just a fun hangout space to sit down and relax a little and just enjoy having your own kind of private space in the basement to hang out and do some fun things. Now, one small detail too, this dressing table was very intentional, because if you notice, the shape of it matches the shape of the hostess station over here. I tried to incorporate a lot of plants and clutter everywhere down here. So I hope you enjoy it. Again, I'm going to re-upload because I actually found more things down here that I forgot to delete as well. So it was a mess. It was a mess. I don't know what happened, if maybe I exited a save and hadn't saved and thought I didn't need to or something, but something funky happened. So I hope you enjoyed this build, and I'd love to know if you like end up downloading it and playing in it, and let me know things that you really liked about this build. And if you have ideas for future builds, drop those down in the comments below as well. I've had a ton of fun doing these seasonal builds this month so far. And so I recently posted a house that's shaped like a pumpkin, and I also did this huge gothic house, my biggest build ever, with 6 different levels. So if you want to check those out, I'll link them down below for you as well. And if you enjoyed the journey in today's video, then feel free to click subscribe and join the pack or coven See what I did there? Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Okay? Bye. It's really funny how whenever you're building, you have to do weird things to alt place items. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have random cubes or random objects floating above tables where you have to place them.